The Galactic Academy's survival training program was mandatory for all first-year cadets, regardless of species. In Lecture Hall Gamma Stavan, 200 students from across the known galaxy sat in nervous anticipation as Instructor Vexter, a four-armed Krillian with decades of experience, paced before them. Survival. Vexter's voice resonated through the hall. Is not about comfort. It is about adaptation, resourcefulness, and the will to endure. Among the crowd sat Aladdin, the only human in his cohort. His dark hair fell casually across his forehead, and his brown eyes studied the instructor with quiet intensity. Beside him, HFY, a luminary female whose bioluminescent skin patterns shifted with her emotions, fidgeted with her datapad. Nervous, Aladdin whispered. HFY's patterns flashed yellow with anxiety. Of course I am. Humans might find this exciting, but my people evolved in climate-controlled by. We're not built for roughing it. Aladdin smiled. You'll be fine. Just stick with me. Each of you, Vexter continued, will receive a standard survival kit. Inside you will find everything necessary for a 3-day survival exercise on Theta, a classroom, wilderness planet, water purification tablets, nutrient packs, thermal blankets, fire-starting equipment, medical supplies, shelter materials, and a utility knife. The kits were distributed sleek metallic cases that hummed with organized efficiency. Students eagerly opened them, examining each item with varying degrees of confidence or dread. Aladdin opened his kit, studied the contents for a moment, then calmly began removing items and stacking them neatly on his desk. HFY watched in confusion as Aladdin emptied nearly everything: the water tablets, the nutrient packs, the thermal blanket, the medical supplies. Her patterns shifted to purple, indicating concern. Aladdin, what are you doing? She hissed. He held up the utility knife, a simple but well-crafted blade about 6 inches long. I only need this. The statement wasn't loud, but several nearby students heard it. A ripple of shocked murmurs spread through the hall. A Vexillian with crystalline features turned in his seat, his voice dripping with condescension. The human thinks he's immortal. Vexter's compound eyes focused on Aladdin. The instructor approached, his forearms crossed in what appeared to be either curiosity or disapproval. Cadet Aladdin, would you care to explain your reasoning? Aladdin stood, respectful but confident. With all due respect, instructor, most of these items solve problems that can be solved with basic knowledge and a good blade. The knife can help me purify water, procure food, build shelter, and defend myself if necessary. The rest, he gestured to the pile, makes me dependent on tools that can break, run out, or be lost. The hall erupted in scattered laughter and protests. Arrogant primate, someone shouted. Humans always think they're special, muttered a Quellan whose tentacles writhed with irritation. Vexter raised one hand for silence. His expression was unreadable. Very well, Cadet Aladdin. Since you're so confident, you'll be the first to demonstrate. Thetanin deployment begins at dawn. You may take only your knife. Island-wise patterns flashed red. Instructor, that's I accept, Aladdin interrupted calmly. The dropship descended through Thetanin's atmosphere at 0600 hours. The planet was beautiful but unforgiving. Dense forests, steep terrain, unpredictable weather, and fauna that ranged from harmless to moderately dangerous. Aladdin stood at the deployment ramp, wearing only his standard academy jumpsuit and boots, the utility knife secured in a simple sheath on his belt. Behind him, fully equipped students clutched their survival kits nervously. HFY pushed through the crowd to reach him. Her patterns swirled with a mixture of concern and determination. I'm coming with you, HFY. You don't have to, I know, she said firmly. But you said to stick with you. So I am, Aladdin smiled. All right then, but we do this my way. Deploying in 30 seconds, the pilot announced. The first challenge came within an hour. Water Island-wise physiology required hydration more frequently than most species, and she was already showing signs of discomfort. There, Aladdin pointed to a cluster of thick vines wrapped around a tree. He cut one with his knife, and clear liquid dripped out. He collected it in a curved leaf, tasted a small amount, then nodded. Safe drink. Island-wise patterns brightened grateful blue as she drank. By midday, other students had activated their emergency beacons and been extracted. Equipment failures, injuries from misusing their gear, or simply giving up. Monitoring drones captured everything, broadcasting it back to the academy. Aladdin, meanwhile, when I had fashioned a spear from a straight branch, its tip hardened over fire. He'd started with a knife and dry moss. He'd built a lean-to shelter using branches and large leaves, demonstrated water purification by boiling in a stone depression, and caught a fish from a stream using a trap woven from flexible saplings. HFY watched in amazement as he filleted the fish with practiced precision. How do you know all this? My grandmother, Aladdin said, working the blade expertly. She grew up in a time when humans still remembered what it meant to live with the land, not just on it. She made sure I learned. Your people preserve this knowledge. Some of us, he smiled. Earth wasn't always easy. We had to adapt, to make do with what we had. Every human carries that history in their DNA. The memory of ancestors who survived ice ages with stone tools, who crossed oceans in wooden boats, who turned deserts into gardens. That night, as they sat by the fire, island-wise patterns glowed, soft amber contentment mixed with admiration. The others laughed at you, I know, but you were right. Aladdin poked at the fire with a stick. It's not about being right. It's about understanding that survival isn't about having the best gear. It's about adaptability. It's about seeing resources where others see nothing. That's what humans are good at. We're not the strongest or the fastest, but we're persistent, creative, and we don't give up easily. On the third morning, Vexter himself arrived at their camp via shuttle. He stepped out, surveyed the scene, the well-constructed shelter, the organized camp, the smoke from a controlled fire, and his mandibles clicked in what might have been approval. Cadet Aladdin, Cadet Island. Why? He nodded to both. The exercise is complete. Your performance has been ... enlightening. Aladdin stood and extended the knife hand. It's a good blade, Instructor. Vexter didn't take it. Keep it, Cadet. You've proven you understand its value. He paused. You've also proven something your species has demonstrated repeatedly throughout galactic history. Humans don't need the best equipment to survive. They make the best of whatever they have. Back at the academy, footage of Aladdin's survival demonstrations spread rapidly. What had begun as mockery transformed into respect, then into something more. Curiosity. Students from dozens of species began requesting transfer into Aladdin's advanced survival electives. They wanted to learn not just how to use a knife, but how to think like a human, how to see possibility in limitation, how to transform nothing into something. Isla, whose people had relied on technology for millennia, found herself learning to start fires, identify edible plants, and read weather patterns. Her patterns now frequently showed the warm gold of excitement rather than the yellow of anxiety. Thank you, she told Aladdin one evening in the academy gardens.
For what?
For showing me that survival isn't about what you carry. She touched her chest, where her luminescent heart patterns pulsed steadily. It's about what you carry here. Aladdin smiled. Now you're thinking like a human. And somewhere in the vast archives of the Galactic Academy, Instructor Vexter filed his report on the human cadet who'd emptied his survival kit and asked for only a knife. His final note was simple but significant recommendation. All future survival protocols should include human-derived techniques, species classification, death world survivor, threat assessment, minimal survival probability in extreme conditions, exceptional. Humanity had once again proven why they were both feared and admired across the galaxy, not because they were the strongest, but because they refused to be broken.